Uh, Mr. X, 26 years old. He complains of pain of both legs since 3 years. Pain increases on walking for a short distance. Past history and family history, nothing significant.
So what do you make out of that?
The patient complains of pain of both legs. The site of the pain,
Side to the pain is the calf muscles and up just
uh,
above the knee also, thigh.
uh, then I would like to know whether it is uh, relieved on rest or
It,
it
it, is,
is
it is relieved on rest.
then the whether he is having any night pains
He
or
doesn't have any night pain at all.
okay, whether the pain is progressing or it is intermittent course in the 3 years.
3 years, it remains same. Whenever he walks for a short distance, he gets pain. He takes rest and then he walks again. He's all right. Again he stops. Again he walks.
Uh, okay, sir. Uh, um, whether he is having any morning stiffness,
No morning stiffness at all. No joint pain.
whether he's
No low backache.
okay, sir. Whether he's having any pain in the arm or upper limb
No,
anywhere.
no. His complaints are only confined to the lower limbs.
Uh, 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 if there is a gradual decrease in the distance in which he can walk,
He is not
after
very
which the
sure
pain
about
level.
it. He is not very sure about it. Young man, 26 years
Okay.
old, started having this illness from 23 years onwards.
If he's having any numbness or paresthesias,
He does not have, very good, he does not have numbness or paresthesia. Good.
if he's having any weakness in the leg,
He does not have weakness, but he describes it as a aching pain in the muscle that makes him stop. Then he's all right, he walks again.
um, if there is any effect of cold and heat,
No, this local climate of Kerala is nothing significant. So you got all the details you wanted.
if he has
Just
any difficulty in climbing steps or
well,
standing up from chair.
he has, whenever he walks, let it climb upstairs, downstairs, or walk, he gets into trouble. But not taking one or two steps, which is a distance that makes him uncomfortable.
Okay, sir. Whether there is any history of smoking?
He is not a smoker.
Okay, sir. Sir, from the details, he's having a claudication pain. So it might be a peripheral arterial disease.
So very good, very good. Your inference is correct. He is having claudication. So you have asked about claudication distance. Now a couple of questions to you. Now, which vessel is in trouble in this patient?
Superficial femoral artery.
Which side?
S-
Which side? Depending upon the site of claudication, will you be able to say which vessel is affected? Suppose the
yes.
distal part of the aorta is blocked, where will you have claudication?
Distal part of aorta, a thigh, buttocks, and
Buttocks, gluteal claudication. And just below that, iliac arteries you get in the thigh. Subsequently, you get claudication in the calf muscle. So tell me the symptoms and signs of peripheral vascular disease. All starting the letter P. There are 6 P's for students to memorize. Couple of which you already asked. 6 P's of peripheral vascular disease. What are they?
pain, pallor,
Pain, pallor,
paresthesia.
paresthesia. Very good. You have 3 you have said.
Then a paralysis.
Paralysis, correct?
Uh, Absence of pulse,
Absence of
pulselessness.
pulseless, yes, good. One more. You hit 5 out of 6. One more. Perishingly cold. When you palpate, look for temperature of the
Yes.
local area, you will find that. So you have concluded that this patient has claudication. So tell me about claudication. You asked about the claudication going up, climbing stairs, and you were asking claudication when he goes downwards. What do you mean by that? Somebody who cannot go up because of claudication, somebody who cannot go down, walk downhill, go uphill. So claudication, how to differentiate between these two? You
Sir,
ask. Hmm.
if he's having any myopathy, then he will be having proximal muscle weakness. Then he will be having difficulty in climbing stairs.
That is
Then
weakness, not claudication. That's weakness. Claudication going downhill, claudication going uphill. So what is the difference?
no, no, I don't know, sir.
Okay, that will be answered by JR subsequently. It's a pending question for them. They will be answering that question. Now tell me what are the risk factors for peripheral vascular disease. You asked about smoking. What other risk factors you want to ask in this patient?
If he's having any diabetes,
Diabetes is one. Yes.
hypertension,
Hypertension, other one. Good.
atherosclerosis,
Atherosclerosis will be manifested as vascular disease of which all organs?
sir, peripheral limbs, then renal.
It may be form of cerebrovascular accident or TIA, coronary heart disease or angina. So ischemic heart disease or cerebrovascular disease. That's how they manifest usually. No?
Okay, sir.
So you are talking about arterial claudication. Do you know anything about neurogenic claudication? You are asking specifically about paresthesia. You are asking
Yes,
about
sir.
pain. You are asking numbness. So what is neurogenic claudication?
Neurogenic claudication, there will be pain in the back which is radiating to the legs associated with numbness and paresthesias.
So how will you differentiate the arterial claudication from neurogenic claudication?
Arterial claudication is cramp like pain, but neurological claudication is um, it's a pain radiating from the back to the legs. The arterial claudication pain is more localized. Then it can be reproduced on asking the patient to walk, and then.
Okay, so there are a couple of points to differentiate between the two. So neurogenic claudication start at the beginning,
Okay, sir.
starting of the walk. Vascular claudication, there's something called as claudication distance, at which it comes definitely. So neurogenic claudication, whenever they get pain, they stoop down in that particular position. Knees are bent, hips are bent, spine is bent, they get a relief. And vascular claudication, no such positional variation. Histo back pain, as you correctly said, is characteristic of neurogenic claudication, but vascular claudication nothing to do with it. Neurogenic complaints like paresthesias, pains, anesthesia, hyposthesia, weakness coming up, air reflux appearing, they are all features of neurogenic claudication. No such things are seen in vascular claudication. So can you tell me in a young man, what are the peripheral vascular diseases you commonly come across? Atherosclerosis is rare in this age group. So any other condition?
Burgess disease.
Burgess disease is a very good possibility, but Burgess usually come in one limb, then the other limb. Here simultaneously, both limbs are starting together. When both limbs are starting together, what's the inference you draw?
vessel involved is
Yes. Vessel involved is, you are right.
common iliac.
Common iliac is which side, right side or left side? Common iliac,
Distal aorta.
distal aorta is can be one side, can be. Okay. So let us move forward. On examination, what all things you want to look in this patient?
On examination, I would like to look for any pallor, then ulcers,
Ulcers, yes.
then any visible muscle wastings, if there is any loss of hair.
Loss of hair. So arterial insufficiency you are looking for, and you are provided this much information.
Sir, yes, sir.
Just read positive things.
Yes, the pulse is 80 per minute. No pallor, icterus cyanosis, clubbing lymphadenopathy. Then body mass index is 20. So then dorsalis pedis, radial is positive, dorsalis pedis, popliteal is negative, femur is feeble bilaterally. So radial is positive, so the upper limb is not involved.
Not
Dorsalis pedis,
positive, radial
popliteal
pulse is not positive, radial pulse is present.
yes, sir. Then femoral, popliteal and dorsalis pedis. Femoral is feeble, so so the
What do you want to do
superficial
now?
femoral arteries.
What do you want to do now?
Then check for if the skin temperature is reduced or if there is any bruit.
No bruit head. Where do you want to look for bruit here? Where do you want to look for bruit?
Sir, in the femoral vessels.
Femoral vessels, okay. You don't want to do anything else. Nothing more you want?
Sir, the Claudic, ask the patient to walk.
That's okay. We'll do. But now what's the diagnosis now?
Sir, peripheral arterial disease involving the lower limb.
So 26-year-old man, what's the etiology you postulate here? Okay, we'll move forward. BP is like this.
Blood pressure is 180/90.
What does that mean to you?
Which is increased. The systolic blood pressure is increased.
Diastolic is normal.
Also increased.
So what do you think?
Hypertension.
Hypertensive. Very good. So he's hypertensive. So what do you make out now? Do you have any differential diagnosis to offer now? First was also peripheral vascular disease due to atherosclerosis. Now comes your second diagnosis, systemic hypertension. So you can improve upon your diagnosis. What do you think? So you think it's a primary hypertension or secondary hypertension?
Secondary hypertension.
Broadly tell me the causes of secondary hypertension. You'll get the diagnosis. Broadly tell me what are the systems you'll think. One is renal system, no clue here. 2, endocrine, no clue here. 3, connective tissue diseases, no clue here. 4, cocaine or stimulant drugs, no clue here. 4, Vascular causes. Which vascular cause can produce hypertension? Do you know any vascular disease? Okay, we'll come to that. Yes. What are the cause of asymmetric pulse?
Sir, coarctation of aorta.
Excellent. Coarctation of aorta can produce hypertension and lower limb pulse may be feeble or absent. So what are the cause of asymmetric pulse?
Sir, coarctation of aorta.
Coarctation of aorta does not produce asymmetric pulse on the two upper limbs. It produces asymmetric pulse between upper limb and lower limb. That's true. Yes.
Okay, sir.
So when there is asymmetric pulse, what are the things to look for? Obviously, you have to look for signs of vascular insufficiency. You already looked for, and also you decide which side is abnormal, and then you look for a breather. That all things you have mentioned so far. So, in addition to that, what all things you look for? Suppose there is a scar in the cubital fossa because of iatrogenic or arterial catheterization. That may be the reason. Similarly, maybe in the lower limb, it may be an embolism producing asymmetric pulse. If an embolism comes and reaches in the bifurcation of aorta, what do you call it? And remain there's a thrombus. What do you call it? Leriche syndrome. Then we have some
Leriche syndrome.
Takayasu. These are topics you have discussed in previous class, so we will not go to that. And you have already mentioned a couple of things like skin changes, temperature changes, nail changes, hair loss. You didn't say. Bru, you have said. What about radiofemoral delay and radioradial delay?
Yes, sir.
You have to look for. That's correct.
Yes,
and you have to measure the BP of all the four limbs. Because he has got one, whenever pulse is absent, you check the blood pressure of that particular limb. Here both lower limbs, so both lower limb pressure to be checked. That is compulsory. Okay, so these are things you look for in a asymmetric pulse. So we are approaching a young man with hypertension. So our idea is to find out the etiology behind it. So review system will include everything about kidneys, everything about endocrine complaints, everything about connective tissue diseases, everything about the drugs he's taking, coarctation of aorta. So all symptoms must be screened in this particular patient. In addition, you are going to look for certain things in asymmetric pulse. So, do you want to have any more reading for blood pressure, or is this enough? And what's normal variation of BP between upper limb and lower limb?
Normal variation is...
we have to take at least 3 readings before you say somebody is hypertensive. And whenever you check the blood pressure, patient must arrive in the office at least 15 minutes before and take rest. He should not rush to the office and take blood pressure be high. He should not have spoken soon before taking the blood pressure. So also coffee, caffeine containing things should not be consumed before measurement of blood pressure. Just before. Then he must keep away from that. In a very cool, relaxed environment, 3 readings are required to say somebody is hypertensive. What normal variation between upper limb and lower limb blood pressure?
Sir, 10 to 20 millimeters of mercury.
Between upper limb and lower limb it is 20. Between 2 upper limbs it is 10. That is acceptable limits. So, look for an anosmia, you know all the causes. The variation between upper limb and lower limb 10 and 20. Why 20 in lower limb and upper limb? Lower depends upon the muscle mass required. You are using the same blood pressure apparatus. On the other hand, if you are passing a needle into your femoral artery and brachial artery and measure pressures, they are normal, equal. So because of muscle mass, the pressure required to obliterate the blood vessel is more. That's why you are getting higher blood pressure in lower limb. Okay,
sir.
Mr. X, upper limb BP is like this.
Right upper limb, right and left upper limb is 180/90 millimeters of mercury. Right and left lower limb is...
Only systolic recorded. Only systolic we could record. 120.
Okay, sir.
So what do you think about this?
There is radiofemoral delay.
Radiofemoral delay is a different story. Here,
Okay, sir.
upper limb blood pressure, lower limb blood pressure is low. So
Yes, sir.
that's what it means. That's all. You cannot check the both pulses together to say whether there's a delay or not.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So tell me, since you have come to delay, why do people get delayed pulse in the lower limb?
Uh, because
Because there is a obstruction to flow through the aorta, and majority of the blood will be passing through collaterals, which join backs the aorta distal to the obstruction.
okay, sir.
So that is how it is. So it's taking a curved route or extra
sir.
route it's passing through. That's why you get a delayed pulse. And his body mass index is okay with you or not? Do you want to reduce weight or is this okay? This is normal.
Yes, sir. 18.5 to 22.9.
So his upper limb is very muscular. Lower limb is not. What do you think he's suffering with? Upper part is muscle man, upper part. Lower part is not muscle man. Usually bodybuilders, lower part is more muscular. The thigh is not very big.
He might be having any lower limb muscle wasting.
Because of the diminished blood flow, upper limbs are better developed. Lower limb will not be as developed as that. That can be seen. So young hypertensive, how to proceed with the history taking and what all things should ask. So today's topic is young hypertensive.
Yes, sir. In the history, we can ask about. Yes, sir.
Carry on.
About the family history.
Family history is important, yes.
Then any other endocrine features or.
Well, what will ask the patient?
About the BM. Okay, sorry. About the lifestyle.
Lifestyle. He's a college student. Just smoking. He's not smoking. He's not drinking.
If he's having any palpitations or increased sweating.
He does not have. No tremor, no palpitation, no sweating. What are you thinking about?
Sir, pheochromocytoma.
That's right. So you will ask about palpitation, anxiety, tremor, sweating. Why do you ask about snoring?
Obstructive sleep.
That is very important cause for hypertension. It is not getting under control in any person. So snoring is very important point. So also daytime somnolence. Weight gain you already asked.
Yes,
muscle weakness. When you ask muscle weakness.
Muscle weakness for any myopathy.
Yesterday's topic we are discussing, hypokalemia can produce muscle weakness. So which are the hypertensive diseases with hypokalemia?
Cone syndrome.
Cone syndrome, 1, very good. 2.
I don't know, sir.
Cushing syndrome. And we are also talking about adrenaline. It pushes the potassium into the cells. So little bit of weakness in expected in pheochromocytoma also. And if people who are diabetic, they may have proximal muscle involvement because of the diabetic problem. If it is a thyrotoxicosis, maybe they are having proximal muscle weakness. So hypokalemia may be the reason. Historenal diseases, and then history to find out CVA or MI. And what all things you look for in examination?
Pardon, sir?
On examination, what do you look for in a young man with hypertension?
Examining the renal bruit.
Very good. So you will check his BMI. You will check his neck circumference. Where do you check his neck circumference?
Neck circumference.
At what level you check? At the thyroid cartilage upper level is the usual.
At the level of
Okay. And then you will measure his waist hip ratio. What is that for?
waist hip ratio to check for if there is any metabolic syndrome.
Yes. So you can have a caliper and you can measure the mid-arm fat. That's also possible. Mid-arm fat can be measured. So also the subscapular fat can be measured. Then you are going to look for moon phase. Which condition?
So Cushing syndrome.
Purple striae.
Cushing syndrome.
Bruit, renal bruit, where do you look for?
Renal bruit, 2 centimeters above and lateral to the umbilicus.
Just above, and on either side of the midline, above the umbilicus. Just above umbilicus, yes. Either side of the midline. Postal BP, why are you looking for postal BP?
Postural BP for
pheochromocytoma. And you are checking all BP of the all 4 limbs. How do you check the BP of the lower limbs?
Tying the tying it along the calf and palpating the popliteal artery.
Calf is above popliteal artery or below popliteal artery?
Below.
So you tie the calf and you palpate popliteal artery, what will happen?
It's a cuff at thigh and...
Conventionally tie and you auscultate popliteal fossa by auscultatory method. If that is not possible, because the size of the cuff is not matching with the size of the thigh, then you have to tie in the calf and check for the pulses around the ankle and then decide. You check for masses in the abdomen. Which mass you are talking about? Renal masses. And then you are going to look at the fundus examination. And our friends JR will tell us the fundus examination findings later on. So second question for them, fundus examination. Tell me how to look for this radiofemoral delay. What are you actually looking for? What are you actually looking for? What is radiofemoral delay? You are using the term repeatedly. Tell me what is it? You are palpating the radial artery, you are palpating the femoral artery, and you are looking at the timing between the two. Femoral is expected to come earlier. Usually if it comes equal or later, you call it as delayed. And then you compare the volume of the radial brachial pulse with that of the femoral pulse. More or less same caliber vessels, and see the volume. That's how you are comparing the upper limb and lower limb. So radiofemoral delay. CVS examination. Do you have anything in mind specifically? There's something seen like this. What do you make out of that?
Interscapular pulsations are visible and systolic murmur in the interscapular area.
What is that? Visible pulsations
coarctation of aorta.
It represents the collaterals. So commonly you are sitting the patient and ask him to separate the scapula by himself by positioning the shoulder and lean forward. You can see the vessels if at all they are there. And you can get a murmur in the interscapular area. Murmur usually occur because of the excess flow through the collaterals. Rarely you can have the flow across the constricted quad segment also. So what are the importance of visible pulsations in clinical medicine?
Visible epigastric pulsations, they are seen in aortic aneurysm or right ventricular hypertrophy.
Good. Good. Suprasternal pulsations.
Suprasternal pulsations are seen in I am mitral stenosis. I don't know.
Classically seen in case of aortic regurgitation, you get in systemic hypertension, you get in case of coarctation of aorta, and then you got whenever you have got this atherosclerosis producing unfolding of the aorta, you can get suprasternal pulsations. What is the cause of right sternoclavicular pulsations? Right sternoclavicular pulsation is commonly seen in aneurysms of the ascending aorta or dissections over there. What are conditions producing manubrial pulsations?
I don't know, sir.
That is when the arch of the aorta is having aneurysm or dissection. If you look tangentially, you may see manubria moving up and down with the heartbeats.
Okay, sir.
Left sternoclavicular joint can also be involved in aneurysms or in dissections. So,
Yes,
epigastrial pulsation, tricuspid regurgitation, abdominal aortic aneurysm, okay. There are RV pulsations, aortic arch aneurysms, ascending aortic aneurysm. So, you have the answers also here, all printed out. A chest X-ray. What are the investigations you want in this case?
chest X-ray.
Yes. What else you want? ECG you want? For
Yes, sir.
X-ray chest. You want? We'll give you X-ray chest. Diagnosis is secondary hypertension and coarctation of aorta. What are the complications of coarctation expected?
Complications.
You see, whenever there is a constricted segment over the aorta, heart is under a lot of pressure to pump the blood across that constricted area. So they obviously go for left ventricular hypertrophy. After some time, the hypertrophied muscle can no more cope with the obstruction, so heart fails. So left heart tends to fail. Another problem you come across is they are more prone for dissection or aortic rupture. Rarely though, they go for endocarditis. You cannot say endocarditis. Site is usually at the area where the jet is touching the wall of the blood vessel. So,
Okay.
and what closest association is with the bicuspid aortic valve. How will you recognize bicuspid aortic valve? The Bitocus aortic click. I think one of these classes mentioned about a click. Aortic ejection clicks. Tell that the bicuspid aortic valve. And there is association with the intracranial bleed, berry aneurysms, and they are also coming as a complication. So what are the usual etiologies of coarctation? Etiology is usually congenital. Sometimes it is associated with the Turner syndrome. Can you tell me something about Turner syndrome? What is Turner syndrome?
Turner syndrome, there is the 45XO, a female having amenorrhea and atrophy of the breast, and
webbing of the neck. They are short stature female, the webbing of the nails, atrophy of the breast and widely spaced nipples, shield-like chest, lymphedema, okay, associated renal abnormalities. These are the usual morphological changes seen. And mosaics usually don't have this. What is meant by mosaicism?
Mosaicism. Some cells will be having 45XO and other cells will be normal in the body.
So those type of patients with Turner syndrome will not have these morphological features we described. How will you confirm the diagnosis of Turner syndrome?
Karyotyping.
What is meant by karyotyping?
Karyotyping is the chromosomal separation at metaphase is photographed, and uh, the deformities can be found out.
So 45 XO, is there a normal number or reduced number?
Reduced number.
So number has to be thought of, and deformity has also be thought of. So one etiology is congenital, second is associated with Turner syndrome, and there is a association between polycystic kidney disease, brain aneurysm, and coarctation of the aorta. It's like a triad. That's one association lying down there. And there's something called as acquired coarctation. Can you tell me something about this? Atherosclerosis or Takayasu disease can also produce involvement. If it's affecting the upper limb dominantly, called as reversed coarctation. Rarely the Takayasu can affect the lower limb also. Okay. So what are the investigations you plan in this patient?
The investigations.
Okay. Any hypertension, you need to have ECG, you need to have X-ray, and you need to have echo, and confirmation has to come with the MR angiogram. Okay, sir. So we expect a LVH usually, and classical description of the X-ray is figure 3 appearance. Just to figure 3, just write 3 in your mind. 3, the upper part is the part of the aorta just before the constriction, and middle part will be the area where there is constriction. Next bulge of the 3 will be the post-stenotic dilatation. And you also find that inferior parts of the ribs 3 to 7 classically will be having something called notching. So actually Dr. Sirin had prepared a good picture of the coarctation. I don't know if just come here or not. If not, I'm sorry. How do you treat these patients? The different type of surgical treatments are available. Let it be anything. The plan is to remove the area, excise it. Of late, angioplasty is preferred, or you put some stent over there. All depends upon the extent or length of the coarctation and site where is it and branches are present or not. The classical site of coarctation is after subclavian. Yes. So usually the upper limb pulse will be okay. Rarely, minority, 10% or so, will be having pre-subclavian coarctation, where you find anastosigmia and one radial pulse will be feeble compared to the other side. So classical site of coarctation is post-stenotic. Okay. Now, there are a couple of questions for JR. The first question we already asked, who is the JR in charge?
Abhishek, sir.
Pardon?
Abhishek, sir.
Tell me the first question. What was the first question pending for you?
Sir, claudication and weakness.
Claudication and weakness. So we said two types of claudication. Claudication going downwards and claudication going upwards. Any idea which condition produces more claudication when it goes down? Well, that is when you go down, you can imagine your spine become more and more straight. And that position, yes, neurogenic claudication becomes severe.
Okay.
They get severe. On the other hand, when they go up, their trunk is flexed, hip is flexed, and their knees are flexed. So there will be a lesser amount of claudication when they are going up.
Yeah.
Association of aorta. Any other association you want to say? Other than what you mentioned, bicuspid aortic valve, brain aneurysm, polycystic kidneys. Which are the affected blood vessels in quarters of aorta? Which which are the 3 to 7 is the common one. Why they have got this notching?
Notching, sir.
The rib has got no superior margin, inferior margin. You can imagine that the blood vessel is passing through the inferior margin, the groove in the rib, and that's the area through which it is passing. So when there's coarctation, these blood vessels become very, very tortuous, and that produces the impinging the inferior margin of the rib. It is 3 to 7 is the common intercostal arteries which are affected, and superior rib notching is commonly seen in case of people who have undergone Blalock operation. Okay. So, can you tell me some condition producing notching? For summarizing, notching can be classified as because of arteries, that because of collaterals as in coarctation, 2, because of the veins as occur in inferior vena cava or superior vena cava obstruction where there are collaterals. 3, neurogenic because of neurofibromas of the intercostal nerves producing scalloping or notching of the ribs. 4th reason is osseous causes, causing the bones because of hyperparathyroidism or like thalassemia. Pardon?
Sir, superior rib notching and osteogenesis imperfecta.
Yes, it can occur in rheumatoid arthritis.
Rheumatoid arthritis.
And connective tissue diseases. Okay, and both superior and inferior margin can have notching if there is a hyperparathyroidism or neurofibroma type 1.
Okay.
Can you tell me some causes for unilateral rib notching? Unilateral.
Unilateral. In case of interrupted aortic arch, inferior rib notching.
Unilateral rib notching can occur when there is a Blalock shunt. It can also occur if there is a neurofibroma or subclavian artery obstruction. So, there are different causes for notching a different site. Tell me something about Cone syndrome.
Sir. Pardon, sir?
Say something about Cone syndrome. It's all written here.
Problem of adrenal glands, they produce more aldosterone.
What are the manifestations? What are the manifestations?
Symptoms include mainly there will be lack of muscle strength, headache, there will be eye problems. Sometimes it can include muscle twitching and cramps.
That's fine. So come to Liddle syndrome. What is Liddle syndrome?
Liddle. Due to high blood pressure, I think so.
Liddle syndrome. JR3, please. Liddle syndrome is a genetic condition affecting the kidneys where there is hypokalemia. Hypokalemia has important manifestation. In which are condition you get Herculean body habitus. Before we forget, tell me about how to assess the severity of coarctation of aorta. It is done by the imaging techniques. If the diameter of the aorta becomes less than 10 millimeters, that's less than 1 centimeter, then you think it is a significant one and you have to intervene. Also, it's a gradient before the coarctate segment and post-coarctate segment. The gradient is more than 20 to 30. Again, you have to intervene as a severe case. Can you tell me the fundus findings of patients with coarctation?
There can be features of hypertensive retinopathy.
JR3, please. Okay, so you may get corkscrew shaped type of blood vessels in the fundus, which is not commonly seen in other conditions producing hypertension. Now, tell me a condition where you get claudication walking, but not on running. Somebody can run very well, no claudication, but claudication only when they walk. What can be the reason?
Don't know, sir.
Poplite artery entrapment is a situation that can produce this picture.
Okay.
Okay.